Good evening, Tottenham fans. Welcome to another episode of Tottenham Hot Takes with me and Nigel from Pure Coys. We're going to be having three hot takes from surrounding the Spurs today. And how you doing, Nigel?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, not too bad. Still recovering from last night's victory, but I am good. How are you?
I'm still in shock from last night's victory, mate, to be honest. Something I definitely wasn't expecting, but it was a good shock, to be honest. So that was really good. Something I actually felt something last night for the first time in a little while. Long may that continue. So that brings me on to our first hot take, mate. First hot take is: will Spurs spend 150 million as promised?
Wow. How much have we spent of that already? I'd say nothing so far. Seeing as we sold
Zero.
Johnson for 35, yeah, and bought Gallagher in for 35 or ish roundabout. You know what? We have 11, 12 days left of the window.
Yep, 12.
I'm
Yep.
concerned. I am concerned we're not gonna be spending any money in the next 12, 13 days. And for the rumours that I'm seeing today, I think I prefer not to. For me, if we're going to buy players, they have to, move the needle, and hopefully we will. Hopefully we will. But at the moment, it's just not looking good, and it feels like to me is a bit of an excuse. With the whole Frank thing going on, the results being poor. Is Frank staying? Is Frank going? I just think it gives ENIC that excuse not to spend money. But as you saw last night with the amount of injuries we have, the amount of suspensions that we have, obviously players were unavailable because they were cup tied, they'll be back. But I think we had 15 players out last night. We are desperate for players. So let's hope they do. But at the moment, it's not looking good, mate.
Yeah, I agree. And especially because there's rumours of more people going out than there is in. You've got like Dragushin is looking at Roma. You've got Tell that wants to leave. Mwani's saying he wants more game time and he wants to go. So what are Spurs doing? Waiting for them to leave first? What happened to this 150 million? Where's that gone? It just doesn't make any sense. They can see that Frank really needs the backing and they're not helping him whatsoever. No, like we can't blame it all on Frank. Nobody's helping him. Like nobody's even coming out and doing anything to try and progress this club. They wanted us to compete on all four fronts, but they've waited 21 days and only spent the money that they've gained from selling Johnson. So for me, I think it's a farce. I think they're lying again. I think they're hoping that Frank fucks up. So if he does, they can say, well, we're not going to spend money on an interim manager, so we're not going to spend money until the summer. Oh, we'll just go big in the summer, and they'll just gaslight us again. At the moment, I honestly believe if they were going to act like a big club, they would have done it already. Because how long do they plan for this window? Because they've told us they've been planning for 4 months for this window. What have they planned then? Because Gallagher wasn't something they planned. That was something that came up. And because Villa tried to get him in, and that was a long-term plan ages ago, like 2 years ago. So I don't think they're even trying at the minute. So it's a farce, mate, at the moment, and they need to hurry up because time is definitely ticking. And if we do get through in the Champions League, we're going to need more quality players to help us out. But we'll see. So the next question is, mate, does Frank deserve the Burnley match?
If you had asked me 24 hours ago, I would have said absolutely not. I think all of us as a fan base, I think actually one thing that not united us so much, but one thing we all kind of agreed on, I think at least 90% of the fan base, was that after that West Ham game, Frank had to go. There was so much discontent. When the crowd are chanting, you're getting sacked in the morning, your own fans are singing it, there's problems. But for whatever reason, he was put in charge of the Dortmund game. And I personally thought it was just rolling him out. It's just one of those, we can't sack you now. We'll put you out there. We know you're going to lose, and we'll sack you after. But, say what you want about Frank, but he turned up. He tactically schooled Dortmund last night, I thought. And for that, he needs to be given the Burnley game. He deserves the Burnley game. I think the pressure is still absolutely 100% on him. I think if he loses to Burnley, I still think he gets sacked, and he has to, because regardless of how we're doing in the Champions League, and we are doing fantastic, it's weird, isn't it, that we haven't lost at home in the Champions League. We haven't conceded a goal at home in the Champions League. Yet in the Premier League, we are shocking. So yeah, for me, Frank deserves the Burnley match. Am I still thinking that Frank should go? Yes, for me, he's not the man to take us forward. But listen, if we go to Burnley, beat Burnley, who knows? Maybe we can turn the corner with him. But I think, yeah, I think he deserves the Burnley match just for that win last night alone.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's bought himself some time, but us Spurs fans have been here before this season. We played in the Champions League. We've had some good performances there. We've gone back to the league again, and it's gone back to dreadful. So we've been here before. We've seen what happens. Burnley's not an easy game, especially at Turf Moor. We don't tend to go there and do well, to be honest, in history. So it's going to be very, very difficult. They've got a point at Anfield, so they're no mugs either. We've got players coming back, which is going to help, especially in midfield, because I think, was it Bergville got a knock again in that game?
Yeah.
So, but I think we have Paulinho might be back, Gallagher might be back. So Frank is going to have no excuses not to try and get a victory over Burnley. He's got no excuses. And if it's a really turgid performance, a really boring defensive, like we are when we're in every away game this season so far, we've just sat back and defended, even against anybody in this league. We've done it too. If we do that and we end up drawing or losing in the last minute again, yeah, then he has to go, because we can't keep doing that and dropping points everywhere. Otherwise, we will be in a relegation battle. If we carry on doing that in the Premier League, we will drop. We will, because it only takes 3 wins from West Ham, and we've got that month from hell. Remember those 4 games that we could easily lose all 4. If West Ham just win 2, they're only about 4 points behind us. So that is not somewhere where we want to be. But looking at it a positive way, if that was the platform at the Dortmund game, if it was, and they go, right, that's how we're going to play moving forward, and we play like that against Burnley, and we tear them apart. Let's just say we did that. We won 3 or 4-0, chances galore, and it was a great performance. Then he's going to buy even more time. But if we play against those bigger teams like the Newcastles, Man Uniteds, Arsenals, and we're completely terrible again, because remember that last game against Arsenal, we had a 0.04 XG or something, so really crap. Yeah. And we didn't lay a glove on them. If that happens again, then them sort of things I can't deal with. These are North London derbies. Like, it doesn't matter what players we've had in the past, we've always put up a fight. Last time we played them, we didn't put up a fight whatsoever, and I can't be doing with that. So if this is a turning point, all good. If it's not, then obviously he needs to go still. So, but we're not going to get overexcited by one performance out of 14, I think it is. So the next question, hot take, is: should we send Mawani back in January and find a replacement?
The easy answer would be yes, 100%. I think Mawani has, for me, been one of the biggest disappointments ever that I can remember in recent years that Spurs have signed. I was really excited when we got Mawani. I thought, he absolutely ripped it up for Frankfurt and Germany, was banged in the goals for them, scored a lot of goals for Juve as well. You got to remember, he cost PSG around 90 million euros when they bought him. And he has come to Spurs, and apart from one game against PSG, he has done nothing. He doesn't look interested. He doesn't look like he cares. He doesn't put the effort in. His finishing is woeful, and that's being nice. And for me, it's just been the biggest disappointment for a long time. I would send him back. He clearly doesn't want to play for Spurs. He turned us down before. I think it was one of those, he had no options, wanted game time. He come to us because he had to, and it is showing in his performances. Got nothing against the lad as a person. I'm sure he's lovely, but as a player, he doesn't want to be here. And let's face it, we need players right now who want to be here. But I will caveat that by saying, who are we going to buy? Because, we've been told January is hard to buy players and strikers especially. So we need somebody. The problem is who, and also he is eligible for the Champions League. If we were to let him go and bring someone else in, they might not be able to play in the Champions League. So it's a balancing act for Spurs. But I'd be tempted to, if we can find a replacement and a decent one of a good standard, then I'd look to send him back.
See, I saw in reports, and all reports might not be true, but you take them with a pinch of salt. But I saw reports today that Mateta wants to leave Crystal Palace in January. Now, Richarlison's injured. If we're going to let Tell go on loan, and we're going to Mawani send him back, we have space for Mateta. Now, I think that would be a super signing for us. But the only problem is, how old is he now? Is he 28?
I think he's about 28, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Spurs will go that old. I know it doesn't sound old to us, but in football terms, 28 years old is quite old if you're going to put someone on a 5-year contract. But I just think he'll do 10 times more than Mawani ever would. His work rate would be insane. He's so strong in the air. He's physically will dominate teams, but if caveat that, if you don't bring anyone else in, what about Scarlett? Why can't we give Scarlett a go? He's sitting there all the time on the bench. He's training with the first team week in, week out. Every time I've seen him play, he makes an impact. He never seems like he's out of place. I just think for once, just try it and see what happens. We tried it with Harry Kane, and look how that turned out. I'm not saying he's going to turn into the next Harry Kane, but give it a try, see what happens. Even just for one game, play him against Burnley. And if he really scores a hat-trick, see you later, Mawani. Send him back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he can't do any worse than Mawani. At least he'd put the effort in.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Scarlett's the answer personally, but he can't do any worse than Mawani. He just doesn't try, doesn't want to be here. So
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think there was a bit where there was a through ball, Mawani just stood there, and then Spence ended up getting it, didn't he? I'm not sure if Mawani was offside. That's why he didn't run for it. But if he wasn't offside and he just couldn't be bothered to run, then he just needs to be sent back now, because you might as well have 10 men playing if he's going to be doing that. He reminds me of Ndombele when Ndombele was there, and he's just doing nothing on the pitch, just strolling about because he thought he was too good to be there. So yeah, for me, I wouldn't care if he was gone tomorrow. I wouldn't care, even if we didn't have a replacement. I'd say I don't care. I'd play Scarlett over him any day of the week. Yeah, so that's it, everybody. We can't finish this without asking you guys to please tell us in the comments what you think of the 3 subjects today. Talking about will ENIC spend 150 million? Does Frank deserve the Burnley game? And should Mawani be sent back? You need to tell us in the comments below, and we'll reply to everyone that's in the comments. Thank you for watching, and come on, you Spurs.